All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started. Everyone else can kind of start trickling in when they want to. So today what we're going to be talking about is 4 ways to assign learning. There are multiple ways of going about it and getting your learners into the learning, but I don't think I've ever really done a topic on this. And one of my regulars asked that I do this session, so thank you very much, Steve. I appreciate you making the recommendation. For those of you also attending or watching the recording, if you have an idea too, pass it along. As you can see, I do actually do the ideas that you guys give me. So pass those ideas along. Let me know what you need to see or what you would like to see, and we'll be glad to cover that information. A little bit about myself. My name is Taylor Craig, and I'm the Platforms Consultant here at Kineo. My job consists of working with our current clients, potential clients. I get to travel the country and train on-site. I get to travel, stay at home and train online as well. So all things Totara, generally I'm your girl. So hopefully I can help you guys out with any questions that you may have today. A little bit about office hours for those of you who don't know. What we do, we'd have a 15-minute feature presentation. Typically during this time, we don't open mics because we want a clean recording that we then pass along and we post on YouTube for your access and anyone else's access and need. We put that up there for you. But then we also have 45 minutes of time for you guys to just ask questions. That's client-only time. And we don't post that to YouTube. But if you would like the recording, say I answer a question that you need to pass along the information to someone else, or you just want to go back and refer to that, let me know. I'm more than happy to provide to you the full recording. I do record the entire session, but I clip the Q&A off for what we put and make public. Okay? So just something to keep in mind. So the 4 major ways of assigning learning, and really there's 5. I probably should have put the 5th one on there, but we don't use it quite as much, but I will touch on that. But the 4 main ways to assign learning, first one is typically going to be via an audience. So you are pushing those people through learning using an audience. You can actually push them through multiple stages of learning using audiences and using rules within those audiences. So you can actually create an audience based on completion, whether that be completion of a course or completion of a program. You can actually build another audience and push them into additional learning that way. So that's one way. You can also assign people through a program. So you can actually build a program and then make your assignment directly within that program. So you have the ability to do that as well. You can also do the same thing through a certification. So you have the ability to go ahead and assign those individuals to the certification. We'll take a look at that. And then you can also do it manually on a per individual course-by-course basis. Now, one thing to keep in mind is you also have the ability to allow learners to self-enroll. So I guess really that's going to be a 5th option. You can actually allow them to locate the learning for themselves and enroll themselves. Keep in mind, they can only enroll themselves into courses. Okay, so they can't enroll themselves into programs unless you're using learning plans. So there is actually a caveat there. So the major 5th one would be via learning plans. You can actually allow learners to enroll themselves and get themselves into learning via that learning plan, or you can allow staff managers to place people into learning via a learning plan. We just don't see people use it quite as much because learning plans, it involves a lot of manager involvement or interaction. It involves a lot of user interaction. And a lot of times learning plans are intended for people to actually sit down and have a conversation and decide where they have their weaknesses and what training is available for them to add to their program. So those are going to be the major ways of getting people into learning. So let's actually take a look at what in the world does that look like. So I'm going to actually switch out my slides here so I stay on track. So the first one is via an audience. I'm going to zoom in a little, see this a little bit better. So there's 2 ways to assign learning via an audience, and it depends on what you're trying to do. So if you need to assign multiple audiences to one particular course, you can do that down inside of a course. So let's look at that first. So if I go into my courses, I'm just going to jump into one of my courses. Actually, I'm going to go about it this way. I'll just go into this course. So to assign multiple audiences to one course, you would do that through the course settings itself. So underneath Course Administration, Edit Settings, you do have the ability to add audiences here. So I'm going to go all the way down. Okay, and you'll see an area underneath Guest Access. If you have it turned on, you may not have it turned on, so yours may be underneath Course Icon. You'll see Add Enrolled Audiences. So in this instance, I have the ability to come in here and say, okay, I want these particular audiences to take this one course. This is great if I need to get 3 large groups of people into one course really quickly. So that's going to enroll those individuals in. So if I say okay, what you will see is you will see that I just enrolled 217 people really, really fast. Okay, so all of those individuals now have access to come into the course and begin to launch it. They will see that show up on their record of learning. So they're going to start seeing that appear. Now, one thing I do have turned on that you may not be seeing on yours, and you may be wondering, what is that? Audience-based visibility. If you want to turn it on, it's underneath Advanced Features, and here are your options. So basically what you can say is enrolled users and members of selected audiences, meaning that only the people who are in that dynamic example, frontline associates, new audience category level, only people who are in those audiences will be able to see and access this course. Okay, so that may be something that you're looking for. We do actually have another recording on audience-based visibility out there. I recommend you take a look at that if that's something that you're interested in. Okay, now the next way you can do this is through the audience itself. So that's going to be located underneath Site Administration. And we're going to go to Users, Accounts, Audiences. Okay, then you're going to locate the audience that you need to assign learning to. Okay, so it can be any of your audiences, but this is going to be assigning a lot of learning to one particular group of people. So I'm going to come in here and I will find this one. So we've got clients new to Totara. So I'm going to click on my audience, or you may end up creating a new one for this particular reason. Totally up to you. You would set up your rules, all that good stuff. And then you have your Enrolled Learning tab. Here I can add courses on a one-by-one basis. So you'll notice I have the Learning Totara Course Basics in here. So I can add courses individually. I can do a pick list, or I can search for them. Or I can add programs from this area. Or I can add certifications from this area. Okay, so I can put a whole group of people into one big program all at one time if I wanted to from here. Okay, and this is going to enroll them in that. So they would see this on their My Learning, their record of learning, those areas. Okay, so they would be able to then click to launch a course. Now, I've mentioned that a couple of times, that they'll be able to click to launch a course. So when we say enroll, and especially when we're doing a really big bulk enrollment like this, we're really just giving them the ability to click launch. So if you were to throw this Totara Course Basics, learning this, throw this in here, and this is an audience full of 200 people. Sometimes I see audiences that have thousands of people in them. It just depends on what you're after and what you're training and what you're doing. When we have really large groups of people like that, you're not going to be able to go to the course and then see that group of people in the course. So it's not going to dump them directly in. The reason for that is server load. So it's wanting the learner to actually click launch, and that serves as the actual, quote, enrollment, or dumping them into that course at that point. So it helps with your server load. You typically don't want to dump 10,000 people into 10 courses potentially all at the same time. That could be a really big server load. Okay, so just something to keep in mind. If you populate a course here and then you go to the course, you're not going to see those 217 people inside the course, not until they log in and launch it. Okay, so at that point, then you'll see it. Here we've got our visible learning. It's going to be the same thing we just looked at inside the course, except it's from the audience. And you can do that with your courses, programs, and certifications as well. Okay, now you can also do enrollment via a program. So doing that via a program, that's going to be coming out and going to site administration, courses, manage programs. And then you're going to go into a program. I'm going to go into this new employee onboarding program. I'm going to edit my program details. And then that's what your assignments tab is for. So you're going to come in here and go to assignments. Don't let that assignments tab throw you off. It's not giving them an assignment. It's actually assigning people to it. Okay, so we're inside of the program. We have assignments. Now you're going to notice we have a couple of different ways of going about this. So I have audiences that I can populate. So I've loaded in a couple of audiences. Simply click Add Audiences to Program. Boom, boom, boom. You've got them in there. It's going to function the same way. It's going to give them the ability to launch that course. You can also do it based on individuals. Okay, so this is going to give me every single individual on the site, and I can select that person there. Okay. We also have the ability to do by other options. So we can enroll via an organization. So basically we can go in and we can say, I want all of my Region 12 employees to take this employee onboarding. Okay, so you can do it that way. You can do it via positions. So you can say, I want all of my frontline associates to take frontline associate training. And you can dump them all in there. Kind of keeps you from having to create an audience. Okay. And then you can also do this via a management hierarchy. So I want everybody who reports to this person, I want them to have to do it. Okay? So several ways you can go about doing that. Currently I don't have organizations, positions, or management hierarchy on here, but if I wanted it, I could say organization and then click Add. And then what that's going to give me the ability to do is select from any of my organizations on the site. Okay? So that's going to be another way to push learners into learning. You can do the same exact thing with certifications. It's going to look very, very similar to a program. So we'll just quickly look at that. So site administration, courses, manage certifications. And I will jump into one of my certifications here, edit those details, and I have an assignments tab just like I did in programs. And it is going to function the exact same way. Okay, so I can put in individuals, a management hierarchy, an individual name, audiences. You'll notice here I'm actually doing it off of a manager. So I've got it based off of a management hierarchy. So it's everyone who reports to Ann Robinson. It's everyone below her. Now, if I had done her direct team, it would just be the people who report directly to her. But if we do all below, that's going to be her direct and her indirect reports. Okay, so it's going to hit both aspects of the gamut there. And one thing to notice, guys, from this particular perspective, you'll notice that I have the ability to also set a complete by date. I can edit that complete by date. I can do a couple of different things with that complete by date. And if you do this through a certification or a program, you get these dates. You don't get these dates if you do it through an audience. Okay, so that's kind of going to be another one of your pros here, that you're going to have a little more functionality as far as when people need to have it done by. So you can do it based on a fixed completion date, and you can do it relative to an event. So you can say their first login, when they were assigned to a particular position, lots of different options here as well. Okay. Now, one thing that you can also do, and we see this done really a lot more during testing than any other time. I use it a lot for testing, for building out courses, giving examples, stuff like that. You may end up using it for other purposes as well, but it's going to be one of your main ways of enrollment. So I'm going to go into my Totara Course Basics course. And we are going to go down here to our course administration. and we're going to go to Course Administration, Users, Enrolled Users. Okay, and then from here, you're going to see who's already enrolled. One thing I want to point out on this particular screen, it's going to show me how people got into the course. Okay, so that's what's nice about this particular screen for a lot of reasons. Not only can I enroll more people from this screen, so I can manually enroll people one by one here, and I just do that simply by clicking Enroll Users, and then boom, 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 select them. Okay, and then finish enrolling users. You want to select the role that you want them to have. You can enroll an entire audience. One thing to keep in mind when you do it from this area, you can enroll the audience. Okay, that's called audience syncing, meaning that you can't unenroll them individually. So if you do an audience sync or dump the entire audience into the course, and then if you want them out, you have to remove the entire audience. Or you can say, I just want to enroll the users. What that's going to give you the ability to do is that is going to give you the ability to enroll all 216 of these people as individuals. So they're going to technically count as, quote, manual enrollments, meaning that you will have the ability to manage them inside of the course. You won't have to go about it by getting rid of the entire audience. Okay, so that's another option there. But one thing I like about this particular screen, guys, is it points out how they became a part of this course. So I see that Bernardo, he's program enrolled. So he clicked into this course on November 11th, 2015. That's when he started. I see that Sunny, she was enrolled here manually on April 29th. Okay, so I see a couple of different enrollment methods. I may even have some self-enrollments. There's one right there, Ginger Gilmore. She was self-enrolled on October 23rd. Okay, I see this guy was part of an audience sync. You'll notice that I don't have an X for him. So Helen Walker, she was put in here. She doesn't have an X. So I can't get rid of her in this course unless I unenroll the audience. Okay, so things to keep in mind, things to consider. All right. And as far as learning plans are concerned, I'm going to defer to the other recording. We do have a recording on learning plans. It does kind of step through all of that. I do want to show you guys really quickly all of the different enrollment methods, because enrollment methods, which are kind of what we've been talking about. We've talked about program enrollment, audience enrollment, certification enrollment, all of that. But I want to point out where you locate enrollment methods on your site. So site administration, and you have underneath plugins, enrollments, manage enroll plugins. Okay, right here is going to be where you're going to see all of the different enrollment methods that you have available to you. So you can do manual enrollments, which again, that's kind of going into the course directly and enrolling them that way. Guest access, that's going to be allowing people access to a course, allowing them to kind of mosey around. You can't do anything in that course. Okay. Your audience sync, which is what we just saw there. And so you've got your audience sync there. As far as audience sync is concerned, for future members of the audience, they should also be synced into that course as well. So just to kind of keep that in mind, that if I add new people, if it's a dynamic audience, and I have the audience sync for that audience set up in a course, those additional individuals should also be dumped into that course as they become part of the audience. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. Program enrollment, we just looked at that. Face-to-face direct enrollment. We didn't talk about that a whole lot today. That's another way to get people into courses. It also allows them to sign up for a face-to-face session at the same exact time. I should have a recording out there on face-to-face direct enrollment as well. So definitely go take a look at that. If you have other questions on it, feel free to let me know. Then you've got your learning plan. You can even do this through PayPal. Category enrollments, that's kind of getting into another area, and you kind of need to justify it to me why you need it. I've done it before, but things that you can do. You can also do things through LDAP. You can get pretty advanced. But the ones that I have turned on, those are going to typically be the ones that you see used most commonly. Okay? All right, guys, so those are going to be your major ways of getting learners into courses. Again, there's several videos that I referenced in this. I would take a look at the learning plans video. I would take a look at the face-to-face direct enrollment video. So I should have both of those out there. I can double check this afternoon, but they should be out there and ready for you to access. So I am going to turn the floor over to you guys and let you ask your questions.